Wake up and smell the coffee, Mr. LaRusso.
Extreme situations require extreme measures.
Yes, play about it.
Yo guys, about Cobra Kai Quad, welcome back to a brand new video. And guys, today we're here to finally rank all 65 episodes of Cobra Kai. Now remember, this is just my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, especially where I rank season 6 episodes. If anyone does not know, season 6 I did not like really at all. I thought only part 3 was good. So a lot of the bottom episodes will be season 6, as you'll see. But yeah, Cobra Kai is one of my favorite shows of all time. Some of the best episodes, some of the best seasons in all of cinema that I've seen. And I'm excited to finally rank this. This will be a long video, and I'm going to try not to spend too much time. I'm going to try to spend more time on the ones I do not like and the ones I love, because there's a reason why they're either loved or hated. Everything else is kind of like in the middle. I'm going to kind of just give a bit summary of why it's there and what I like and do not like, just small parts of it, because, you know, I don't want this video being over an hour. Because if I'm talking about a review, an episode for over 1 minute, that's over an hour. So of just that, and that's not including the yap I'm doing right now. So we're gonna get into this right away. Let me know yours in the comments down below. I'm sure none of you guys will rank all 65 in the comments, at least I think. But if you guys want to say like your favorite, top five least favorite, I'd love to hear you guys in the comments down below. But let's start off with the worst episode in Cobra Kai. If everyone knows me, knows what this episode is, and they know exactly why it's here. And I actually do plan to make a full video talking about like scene by scene how bad this episode is, just because I think it deserves it. But before we do that, coming at number 65 for the worst episode in Cobra Kai history, probably the worst episode in one of the worst episodes I've ever seen in television history. This belongs to Cobra Kai season 6 episode 8. I believe it's called Snakes on the Plane. I truly do not know where to begin with this episode. It was horrendous. It was god awful. It was miserable. And like I said, I don't know where to start. I guess we just start with the main problem. First off, this has like 40 different subplots in one episode. You got this whole Dimitri and Hawk stuff about their whole stuff. You got this whole Chosen and Kim love stuff, which we'll get to. We have a whole nother thing with Robbie and Tori, and then we have a whole nother thing with Johnny, and then we have a whole nother thing with stuff back at home, all the way attached from Barcelona, and all the way back at home with Kenny and Anthony, which I don't know why it was even necessary, because Anthony is a ghost in part 3, and Kenny doesn't have one line the entire part 3. So there's pretty much about that. Oh yeah, and another subplot that I forgot is the whole Johnny and Miguel stuff on the plane, where they're going all the way back to America because, you know, Carmen might die, and that just was nothing. Like, she is completely okay. So yeah, just starting from the beginning, you know, you have the whole I think I just gotta get this out of the way. I'm gonna talk about it. Chosen goes after the kids to try to find them because they're not supposed to party, and now Daniel, whatever. And then we get this whole Kim stuff, and it is terrible. I mean, it makes absolutely zero sense why they are romantically interested. It literally is so stupid. I mean, you go from Chosen being a guy who is, you know, I have no wife, I have no kids. All I have to live for is the Karate Kid, is the Cobra, is the Miyagi-Do legacy. Like, that's a serious, solid ground, dark character. Not dark, but more deep character that you can work with. Now you make him a complete joke, making out with Kim, who is, I'm sorry, an evil person. Their ideologies are completely different from each other. And then they're just, that's just that. And they don't really talk at all for episodes. And then Chosen just back with her at end of episode 15. So, what the hell? I mean, that right there was just so stupid. It was so forced. It made no sense and was ridiculous. The whole Johnny Miguel stuff, it had some good emotional moments, but it ultimately did nothing. They go to see Carmen, and they do a whole fake scare that she's dead, and she says, "Oh, I'm okay. Go back and win." And they're back. Yay, guys, we're back. Okay, so that was absolutely for nothing. What else even happens? Oh yeah, the whole Dimitri and Hawk stuff, making them the most insufferable characters ever. They're over there doing some party. Dimitri gets mad at Hawk that he got caught. I'm like, what the frick is this? Like, I don't know. And then to make it even worse, the whole Anthony and Kenny stuff is so stupid. And then to make up to Kenny, Anthony goes there and literally makes himself diarrhea himself. It's like, hey man, we're good, like some sort of diarrhea ritual. Like, what the frick is going on? So this episode was terrible, and the ending even gets worse when they all suddenly come there and they see Silver for the first time, and he's butt naked. He walks out and goes, well, and Creed's like, oh, well, the gang's all here. Like, what the hell? So this episode, I'm gonna give a 3 out of 10. It was terrible. May God have mercy on everyone's soul who watched it. And yeah. But coming at 64 will be another season 6 episode, and this is going to be season 6 episode 3. I forgot the episode title, and that's for a reason. This episode was boring and full of filler, and not good filler, actually bad filler. This episode is just people chasing their tail the whole time. We get a whole subplot about Daniel finding these things of Miyagi, and they're over there chasing a guy in the middle of the street at this boxing gym, finding out this whole Miyagi stuff, which this whole Miyagi subplot carries on and drags out and ultimately does nothing. All it does is it keeps leading to Daniel getting more upset, and then eventually you realize, okay, like, oh, I'm happy now. I really don't know what that accomplished. But outside of that, you get a whole sleepover with Johnny, which is funny, but also weird and also kind of meaningless. And I also do not like how Sam and Tori are all butt buddies now and all happy friends. And like, okay, you go from trying to kill each other to, all right, we'll ally to stop Silver, this evil person. And then now you're friends. That's a big gap. All 3 of those are big gaps. So that doesn't make sense. And they had this whole conversation about them kind of blaming each other and actually both apologizing, which is a good conversation. It makes sense. But why is that conversation happening after they're supposedly friends and having pillow fights and showing each other funny cat videos? Why wouldn't the conversation happen before? Couldn't tell you. And then outside of that, you also have the whole Korea stuff, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the whole Korea stuff was boring and stupid and completely detached from the story. I mean, it feels like you're watching 2 shows in one. You go from a boxing gym, a sleeping over, to Korea scenes that are really dark training. Like, it's just such a karate soap opera mess, this episode. I can't get past it. I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. But coming at 63, another season 6 episode, but don't worry, it is more worse than what you think I'm going to say. This episode actually is a lot worse than people don't give it credit for. And as I was thinking of this episode, I was like, hold on a minute. This could be the second worst episode. But I gave it a little slack. And this is going to season 6, episode 6, the opener to part 2. Yeah, this one is terrible. I mean, when I first watched it, I thought it was solid, but now thinking about it, kind of rewatching it a bit, it's terrible. I mean, the whole thing, they all get to Barcelona, and it's a huge mess. I mean, I feel like I'm losing my damn mind watching this. Daniel and Johnny still bickering. They go to this whole meetup, and Johnny's arguing over a steak, and the next thing you know, freaking, like, it's honestly sad when you think about it, but Chosen just comes in like a drunk lunatic, freaking out, Flower screaming and crying. Like, they're making this guy a sitcom comedy joke. Like, the disrespect to this character is insane. He can have comedy moments. We saw that in season 3, but you can't absolutely turn him into a complete joke. And then there's just more stupid stuff, like this whole stupid, oh, I'm gonna bet like to who gets to sleep at the place with the whole karate kicks. I'm like, okay, really? And then the whole episode just a bunch of filler. You don't really get no nuance this episode. Everyone's bickering and mad at each other. Nothing really gets resolved. You really don't see any fights till the end. The episode sucks. I'm going to give this a 5.3 out of 10. Not a good episode. But coming at 62 is, you guessed it, another season 6 episode. And this one is going back to part 1 to show good old season 6 episode 2, The Prize. Boy, this episode was bad. Yeah, so this has another thing where we're following 3 subplots, which are all insane. First, you get the whole frat house stuff, which was ridiculous. But what makes it even worse is the whole subplot that's going in between the shots of the Korea stuff. So you go from Kreese snapping Johnny's neck in a flashback, which makes no sense because he was just breaking down, crying about how he taught him the wrong way and I need to make myself better in season 5 in jail, and having visions of him of his younger self just moments ago. But now he's in Korea, he's an evil man again because we don't have a villain because we put Silver in jail and we need a villain for our story. But don't worry, we'll give him redemption in part 3 when Silver's back and nothing changed with Kreese. But you have this whole snake stuff where he gets bit by a snake and he's having these visions, which was ridiculous. But you go from those dark scenes to getting bruxed, and they even try to make a whole Kyler's like sympathizing. I'm like, what are we doing? This is the last season. We're spending time with Kyler mini redemption, like, okay. And then you get the Johnny stuff where he's going off and trying to better himself in the House of Chosen. I actually like that stuff. This stuff I like. I think that's actually really good for Johnny's arc. But the problem is in episode 5, which we'll get to, he throws that away when he throws away his job and starts acting like a lunatic over an argument in the woods with Daniel. So that destroys that arc. And this whole episode is just all over the place. Has no focus. It's just stuff happening for the sake of it happening because we don't have a story. And I just can't handle it. It was really rough to watch. I'm going to give this a 5.5. Not a good episode. Now, I'm going to need you guys to take a wild guess to what episode of what season this next one is at. Take a guess. You guessed it. It's season 6 again. And this is going to episode 7, Dog in a Fight. So actually, this episode actually does have something good about it. The fights is really good. The stuff with Miguel and like when they go on top of the stuff, great action. You love that stuff. You know, I always appreciate more of character arcs and story more than just action. But I think that stuff is always great and fun. It's a big part of Cobra Kai, and I liked it. But outside of that, you get more Johnny and Daniel bickering and more boring teenage drama, which doesn't even feel real or natural. It feels forced. And then beyond that, you get Daniel getting like, it's so funny. He gets trapped and he gets thrown in a dog cage. I mean, what? What? And then he escapes out with like this Jesus key or whatever, and he starts beating up Dennis from Karate Kid 3. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then that's pretty much the episode outside of the fighting. It's really not good. I mean, the action and fight scenes when they actually are there are pretty fun, but this episode's not good. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. It takes a slight jump from the ones before it, but still a bad episode. All right, coming at number 60 is a episode from the season 6. Yeah, we're going episode 1. The one to start off the whole thing. Oh, I mean, I disappeared. That's how bad the season was. It made me disappear. Sorry about that. Okay, so this episode was a mess. More importantly, because of Johnny. Johnny is a raging lunatic this episode. He is just acting emotional, acting irrational, not acting like himself. You watch season 5, he's a lot more mature. It seems like he was actually helping bring people together and actually stopping his grudges with Miguel and Robbie. And then he kind of held back on the rival with Johnny and Daniel. With Daniel, like he actually held himself back. Not here. Now he's actually making it worse. And this whole episode is basically just them trying to get their head out of their ass about a karate name. Just the whole episode. And then at the end, Stingray gives a speech about your Cobra Kai. And then he says, no, I'm Miyagi-Do. But then he teaches like Cobra Kai and gets mad at Daniel and chooses Miyagi-Do. Then eventually he turns his dojo to Cobra Kai in part 3. So not a really good start this episode. Everything else, you get the whole like harassing Kenny, not leaving him alone. Really about it. So then not the greatest episode. It had some cool and fun moments. So I'm gonna give like a 6.3, but not really good. Oh, but don't worry, guys. We are finally out of the slumps of season 6. Our first non-season 6 episode. And for everyone who knows, the last time I did my ranking all 50 episodes before season 6, this was the OG worst episode in Cobra Kai. But how beautiful it looks compared to those episodes. We are going number 59 to season 5, episode 8. What is up with these episode 8s? But yeah, this episode, like I said, it's solid television. It's okay. Like, there's some good moments in here. Like, it's not like it's like a terrible episode like some of the episodes before. But the problem with this is not actually like the quality of it, or the like the writing or pacing, stuff like that. The problem with this is it disrespects you as a fan base. It disrespects me, you, everyone, your mother, your cat, everyone, because it has Hawk, a main character, a character that was so dominant last season as an All Valley champion, and who was such a great character, a dominant character in season 3, turned to a joke where he finally gets Mohawk on. He says a line a little corny, you know, where he goes, time to unleash the Hawk. Okay, if you're gonna give him that line, actually have him unleash the Hawk. No, what happens is he gets beat by a middle schooler who's being thrown in dumpsters by Anthony and his goons months ago, and now he gets beat up. He's on the air. He's leaning for air. I know he did the little silver bullet, but I don't care. You don't record that scene and show it to your fan base of Hawk on the floor healing for air as a joke, as they call him Faux Hawk. I mean, really? And then the episode, I do not like how Silver pays off the refs because it makes him look like it makes the Cobra Kai Empire look weak and like cowards. Like I understand doing that one time, but doing it the second time makes Silver look like a coward and makes him look weak, and it makes Cobra Kai not as intimidating. Also, the ending is ridiculous where Miguel's just kissing him out on some random girl. Silver, Sam starts freaking out on her phone, freaking out, and then Tori's like, "It wasn't you. I cheated on the valley." I'm like, it was just so like a Darman, and why are we going back to love drama regardless? And why is like Sam so freaking out when she's the one who literally put the relationship on pause and is kind of blocking him out of everything? I mean, this episode is it just frustrates me, really. It's not really bad because it's bad. It's really bad because it frustrates me. I'm going to give it a 6.5. Not the greatest to me, at least. And then we're going to hop on over to our first season 4 episode. And this is going at number 58. We are going season 4, episode 7, Minefield. And the pivotal or objective of this episode is basically the whole Anthony and Ketty love drama with Leah, I think her name was. I just don't know why it's necessary. I appreciate them trying to bring Anthony more into the story, but Kenny, looking back on it now that the show's over, his character means nothing. It didn't lead anywhere, and especially season 4, he seems like a sitcom villain. It's just not good, and that's really what's going on. It's cutting in between that and the whole training between Eagle Fang, and then you have a little bit of Miyagi-Do, a little bit of Cobra Kai, but nothing actually really interesting. Then it's just Anthony being an asshole, being just pathetic as a character. The only good part was the ending where Creed confronts Silver and he's like re-triggering his PTSD and like getting in his head. I thought that was really interesting and really good, because you guys know season 4, I mean, Silver kind of carried that season. But that's really about it about this episode. I'm gonna give this a 6.5. I'm gonna give it the same as last one. So yeah. And coming in at 57 is our second season 5 episode, which is season 5 episode 4, A Downward Spiral. And that's exactly what it was, a downward spiral, where episode 3 starts to pick up some momentum in the story after a pretty boring or just kind of not really directed first 2 episodes. Episode 4 really just makes it goes downward. I mean, you have this whole pool drama, which is kind of just weird and not really necessary, but you get that, and it starts from pushing each other to fighting each other, and then they have a whole pool tube slide race. I'm like, what is going on? And they start fighting, then Miguel and Robbie start fighting, and then Johnny gets there, and then you get this whole thing about Silver manipulating Amanda, making Daniel look a little crazy, where she kind of leaves him. And I don't know, man. I feel like Amanda was just kind of acting a bit crazy there. I mean, I feel like she should be a little more understanding considering what happened. I understand the frustration, but damn. And then that just leads to a whole thing. And then, the rest of the episode is really just, I don't even know. I mean, that's really all I can really remember. I think Johnny was doing like Uber driving, but the episode just feels like a bunch of drama there that's not necessary and also not interesting. So those are things that do not mix well together. There's some cool, fun scenes, but it's not really there. I'm gonna give this a 6.8. And then coming in at 56, we're going back to season 4, and it's going to be season 4, episode 2. I think Then Learn Stan, or First Learn Stan. Big part of the episode was Kenny, which seemed a little weird because Kenny is nothing to do with the story at that part of the time. The story's about, Daniel, Johnny trying to come together, trying to train the students, those guys. Well, Kenny is just Kenny. Yes, he is getting bullied by Anthony, but Anthony's a character that has had like 10 lines the whole show. So it just seemed a little weird being thrown into like a whole standalone episode towards Kenny, especially whereas, like I said, when I watched this for the first time, even before season 6, I mean, I was somewhat interested in it because Kenny was a character which was still kind of interesting that could go somewhere. Considering his character went nowhere, it makes me look back on this as worse. So that's a big thing. And, the middle school drama is really just not fun. It's really boring to watch. You do get the whole Daniel trying to teach Johnny stuff, which was pretty fun and interesting. and them trying to teach each other about their styles. There's some good comedy moments there, but aside of that, this episode really just was not it. It really was just there. It was really a standalone episode, and that kind of shows. I'm gonna give it a 6.8 out of 10, coming at 56. And coming in at 55, we're going back to season 5, 455, and this is going to be season 5, episode 7, Bad Eggs. And that's what it was. It was a bad egg. It was a rotten egg. All right, it wasn't that bad. This episode really was just training about the whole egg technique. That was really the main thing that was going on. And, that's fine having some training scenes, but really, that's really all it was this episode. That's really what the main thing was going on. You get some Cobra Kai moments between Silver and Tori and, Kenny, and Silver taking Kenny on more as a mentor. Some interesting stuff there, but not really too interesting. And then you get the whole, like, Johnny and Daniel betraying Kreese, kind of not giving him the thing, where I guess I understand it, but where you see Kreese is now and with him trying to do better, it really kind of felt disheartening. But yeah, this episode really just wasn't there. It really didn't do anything besides training. Certainly, I want to say it was bad, but it also was not good. So I'm going to give this one a 6.9. And yeah, so that's coming in at 55. All right, we're coming at 54. We're going back to season 4. You go from season 5, 55, now from season 4 to 54. Please subscribe and like the video. So we are going episode 4 of season 4, Bicepal. I think that's how you say it. I'm dyslexic, illiterate, and retarded, so do not blame me. But yeah, this episode was also kind of all over the place. I like season 4. The Kenny stuff, also not interesting. The rest of the stuff, not so interesting. You get to see more of Daniel Miguel. That's cool. But the whole story stuff at her job and Sam going over there to harass her seemed a little off. I appreciate and like how they start showing layers in the gray area. That's one of my favorite stuff of the show. Of, Sam kind of being the villain in this case and Tori actually starting to sympathize for her. I love her arc in season 4. I love her arc continuing on. But you have to do it more like that. You can't just do it where you just turn Sam into a villain. It has to be Sam having reasons to do that seem natural, which you can say she has, but they don't show it. They don't develop it, which makes her just seem like a villain and just makes her kind of like a tool. Like, I'm just using Sam as a tool to move arcs around. Well, she doesn't have one of her own. Kind of like I talked about in my Sam video. I recommend you talking about it out. The most frustrating character in Cobra Kai. But yeah, that stuff just seemed a little forced, and I didn't really appreciate how it did Sam like that. But I love how it did with Tori. And then you get the whole like movie theater kind of fight where they're all at the place, and then they make Robbie and the Cobra Kai go in the baseball place, and they get sprayed upon. He's like, they won't get away with this. I'm like, okay. And then it ends with Silver meeting up with Daniel at the Miyagi. It was pretty cool. But yeah, it wasn't a bad episode, but it was just lower tier, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. All I can really do for that. And coming in then at 50, okay, well, hello, Anthony Edwards. My camera just disconnected. Well, my camera just disconnected, so that's wonderful. But as I was going to say, you can run, you can hide, but you can't hide because season 6 is back, and we are here with episode 11, our first of part 3. I hate the whole part stuff. Part 1, part 2, part 3. Like, it's all one season, guys. Can we stop calling it that? I just did. I'm a part of the problem. I actually thought this episode was pretty decent. Like, it actually was fluent. It did stuff well. It wasn't like a complete mess like most of episodes. But also it's kind of boring, I did like to feel. I don't like how they do a whole time jump from part 2, episode 10. But it's that stuff just messes up the whole. Like, you go from killing a character in a dramatic way to just skipping the whole trauma to a whole month, and it just seems a little weird. But outside of that, the episode has some good stuff with Silver, with Johnny, and Johnny actually mature, and it was just a decent episode. Didn't do anything great, didn't do anything really bad. It's just an episode. The whole Korea stuff with Kreese also was killing Sensei Kim was also a little bit weird, a little too much, but dude was 100 years old. What do I want to say? But yeah, that's coming in at 53, and I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. And we are going back to season 5, which seems pretty low. A lot of episodes here. If you actually think about those episodes, that season, it might be more overrated, might be worse than what we thought. I don't know. You tell me. But 52, we are going season 5, episode 2, The Mole, or I think it's just called Mole. Yeah, I mean, still continuing off the whole Mexico stuff, which I think a little waste. I've made it very clear. The whole Hector stuff, my favorite character in Cobra Kai, as you guys know. It just seems so unnecessary, which is why he did not return to season 6, as I told everybody multiple times, like a lot of times, and I was right, by the way. So you just you keep showing him and whole Miguel stuff, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really feel important. It doesn't really feel like it does anything, and it doesn't carry any weight over the rest of the season. Like Miguel's just back in Happy Land, and everything really that. And that's pretty much the whole episode. It's just them going after Mexico. You get some good scenes. I do like the scene where Johnny hugs Miguel. It kind of symbolizes like, okay, I accept you as my true father. Some good stuff there, but outside of that, man, this episode just doesn't really feel that spectacular. The Mexico stuff seemed like a waste of time. I'm gonna give this a 7.2, and it's gonna be at 52, and it's episode 2 of season 5. And coming in at 51, we have season 4, episode 3, going back to season 4. Hey man, season 4, 5, and 6 are running up the scoreboard like prime Wilt Chamberlain right now. But yeah, this episode was also just an alright episode. There isn't too much to say against or for this episode. You get to see Silver kind of dash more into his dark side. You get to see Johnny teach, Miguel and Sam, and I thought there were some cool moments there. You get more Kenny stuff, which is, that. And that's pretty much the episode. I do not like how Johnny gets all butthurt about Daniel putting on a ban on Miguel. I'm like, okay. That after everything that you guys gone through to get here, that's what bothers you? All right, man, whatever. But yeah, it's a solid episode. I think you'll enjoy yourself, but you're not gonna find too much here. I'm gonna give this a 7.4 out of 10. And we are now in our top 50. Coming in number 50, we are going season 5 episode. Season 4, episode 6. Kicks get chicks. Not true, by the way. But yeah, this episode was pretty more of there just for humor, and I appreciate that. I mean, I always do love to humor in Cobra Kai. I think it was done pretty well. But outside of that, this episode's kind of just not there. I mean, you get some nice scenes with the whole Hawk stuff now that he's more humbled and Dimitri and talk to him. You get some cool stuff with Amanda and Tori, and you get to see more of Tori's life. But I don't know. The ending of this kind of made it the worst, where we get to see Aisha for the first time in a long time. And they get this whole speech about Sam doing the right thing. Instead of her doing that, she goes up to Tori and says one of the corniest lines and scenes in the entire show, and probably in cinema history. "I'm coming for you, bitch." She walks away with a smile on her face. Pardon? Like, I don't know what to say here. That was bad. That was rough, and it probably knocked down 5 episodes, maybe 10. No, I'm joking, but it was bad. So yeah, that's rough. Outside of that, it was a pretty solid episode. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Obviously, I love the humor. It was really good. The humor was good. All right, and coming in at 49, we have season 5, episode 1. What's it called? It's a good question. I should probably check. Long way from home. This episode wasn't really bad, but it seemed a little slow. Like I said, the Mexico arc. You get Sam calling Miguel. You should be thinking about me, but why don't you? What about me? What about what I won't care? This kid's going off to find his father he never cared about, while you're living Miss Little Perfect Life, and you're gonna start begging him about you? Seriously? Just continuing making Sam more annoying. And the rest of stuff is just more Mexico stuff, and you see a little bit of Hector, and that's really the episode. So it just kind of was a slow start. This episode felt like more of a setup towards like the whole episode felt like a setup towards another episode. So it didn't really feel like it was an episode of its own. But it wasn't bad. There was some cool. I like the bonding and fun scenes between Johnny and Miguel. I mean, Johnny and Robbie, which we have not seen for a long time up to that point, really ever. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a 7.5. Not bad, not good, not bad. Yeah. All right, and coming in at 48, we have Cobra Kai, our first season 2 episode. Season 2, episode 4. Still no 1 or 6. I mean, oh yeah, there's no 6 yet. Yeah, right. No 1 or 3. And this is, I believe, the moment of truth. I don't know. It's episode 4. Not bad. I obviously love the nostalgia season 2. I really do. And this was our first episode of obviously Tori. But the episode was really kind of revolved on all of that. You get the whole beach club Sam Tori drama, which was a bit crazy. You get a couple other scenes of whatever, but that's basically the main point. So I don't know. I don't think the episode's bad, but I wouldn't say it's great. It definitely doesn't rank among some of the great episodes. I'm gonna give it a 7.6 out of 10. And coming in at 47, we have back to season 6, good old season 6, and back to part 1. We're going season 6, episode 4, Underdogs. Now, I feel like the style of this episode of kind of like a tournament trying to figure out who's the best, and Mike Barnes' edition was pretty cool and fun, but the episode really fails of being fully entertaining. It really doesn't feel like really that much entertaining. I do not like how Johnny cares more about cares so much more about Devin. It doesn't bat an eye at anyone else, especially his own 2 sons. And they just have some sort of chemistry now that would never happen. Like, I never felt any chemistry. It's just a random built chemistry that happened off screen, I guess, where he's even going to go fight Mike Barnes because of that. Like, geez. And then the ending was just ridiculous. They disrespect Hawk again, and they make Hawk crap himself, which was so stupid. I couldn't even begin to get it. So the episode has flaws, but I do like the style of it. It was pretty fun. Some cool, nice scenes. I'm going to give this also a 7.6 out of 10. 36 is the episode right after it. That is season 6, episode 5, the best of the best. Yeah, this episode a lot of people love, and there's a lot to love here. The whole Tori stuff and the whole Tori stuff with her mother was really good and acted very well, but the whole Johnny stuff of him freaking out and causing the job, the whole ending between Johnny and Daniel and stuff like that really damages this episode. So that's why it's lower. And also, did I forget that this is the second straight episode where Chosen just disappeared? Yeah. So I'm also gonna give this a 7.6, and that will conclude part 1. I keep saying parts. I got stopped that already, but it does conclude part 1. And in at 45, we have Cobra Kai season 4, episode 5, Match Point. Now, this episode has some good moments, some nice, fun moments, but most of this episode was Johnny and Daniel bickering, and then they get the whole tournament fight. Where it's just so stupid. Like, these are full-grown men, and I understand Cobra Kai is a kind of a stupid, corny show in hindsight, but that's why we kind of love it. But there's seriousness to it. But this seemed a little too much, a little too unnecessary. That I just do not like it. I mean, like, just look at this photo here. Like, just look at it. Like, that's why it's just really frustrating. I'm also gonna give this a 7.6. You know what? I'll give it 7.7. You get 0.1 point in my hindsight. Congratulations. That's my 45. And coming in at 44, we have another season 2 episode. Season 2, episode 7, LOL. L-U-L-L. LOL. So, I thought this episode didn't really do anything too much of the story. It was really more about the fights in Old Creek. And you also get the whole hot and cold things with Sam, which had some interesting lines. You like the heat? I like the heat. Something like that. But aside of that, I thought the episode was pretty good. I thought the fights were really fun. I thought the Creek stuff was really well. And just good old vintage season 2 vibes. You gotta love it. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this a 7.7. Yeah. And then here we are finally with our first season 1 episode. Still no season 3, the last one remaining, because that season is peak cinema and the best season by far. But our first season 1 episode goes to season 1, episode 3, a Mexican word that I could not pronounce if my gun was to my head. So, yeah, I thought this episode was really I do like the whole Halloween party stuff. It was pretty fun and cool. That's literally the whole episode. The episode's like 25 minutes long, and that's really all it is. So, it's not really because of the quality. It's more just the time. It doesn't really expand on anything. It doesn't move the story over too much. So that's why it's a bit lower, but still a fun episode. I'm gonna give it a 7.8. And coming in at 42, we are going over back to season 2, and this is season 2, episode 3, Fire and Ice. Same thing with the last episode. Season 1, episode 3. It's not really because the episode bad. It's just really short. I mean, the whole episode revolves around this festival, and all it really does is just build upon the rival between Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do. It doesn't really do anything else beyond that. I mean, it was fun, it was cool, but it was way short and didn't mean that much besides, just like I said, just building up the rival. So that's really why it's a bit lower, but still a fun episode. I'm gonna give it also a 7.8. And coming in at 41, we're going back to season 2, and one that people probably thought would be a little lower because a lot of people did not like this episode. A lot of people did not like the scenes in this episode. I'm going season 2, episode 8, The Glory of Love. Yes, I understand. This was basically the pivotal and the peak of the teen love drama. Actually, that was probably episode 9, but this was bad. I mean, it was all over the place, and you guys know I hate the love drama for season 2. I hate all teenage love drama TV shows. I can't stand it. I think love drama, love drama and relationship drama are two different things. Relationship drama in shows I find really interesting, but love drama like this, no. But it had real relationship drama between Daniel and Amanda, and I thought they did that really well, and that's why it's higher. I really like those scenes, and I do like more of the opening scenes in here. But when you get to the stuff, it's really not good. It's really ridiculous, and no, Sam, we do not want your Sam Moores. Like, nobody wants a Sam Moore. Was that even from this episode? I don't know. It's still, I'm still getting pissed off about it. No, I don't care that you call them Sam Moores. Dude, okay, I might actually be a Sam hater. Holy crap! But anyway, I'm giving this episode a 7.8. Well, good morning. Yup, it's the next day because I realized I only talked about the bottom 15 episodes and the video is 40 minutes long. And I did my calculations in my head. That would make the video about 2 hours and 50 minutes, which would be like 2 times longer than the Karate Legend movie. So, yeah, it's the next day. Hopefully, I'm going to try not to yap as much. The video's already out, so you guys can look at the time, see how long it is, see how much I'm probably lying. But, yeah, we are here to continue. And, yeah, I don't know what's worse. The fact that my Timberwolves just got destroyed in the Western Conference Finals, eliminated again, or I'm going to go watch Karate Legends today. Either way, here we are, continuing the ranking. Let's go. And here we are, finally, with our first season 3 episode. Coming in at number 40, we have season 3, episode 7, a name that I'm also not going to pronounce. Apodalisco, something like an octopus. I don't know. It's a Mexican name, so don't blame me. But yeah, this episode revolves a lot around Sam and her PTSD, which I thought was really good for her character. To me, it's just a bit frustrating where they place it in. Like in the season, considering where she leads into in season 4 and 5, and I guess you could say 6. I mean, it's just, I appreciate the stuff individually. I appreciate them trying to show the side of Sam's character, actually go deep in her character, which they usually haven't all season, all show. So it's really good to see that, but it also seems a little bit meaningless. Kind of like the whole Kenny stuff I was talking before. It seems a little rough, but it is nice seeing her and Daniel there, about the fear and what he dealt with in Karate Kid 3. You get to see more of Miguel going back to school and seeing how messed up it is, Johnny confronting Hawk, and them having their own little Eagle Fang thing, and then Kreese confronts them. So it was a solid episode. It just didn't seem too directed in the bigger story. It was more towards the smaller characters, or not smaller characters, just more about their arc rather than the story. So it's a little lower. It's still a good episode. Obviously, I love season 3, so every season 3 episode I'm gonna love. I'm going to give it a 7.8 out of 10. And we're heading back to Season 6, Part 3. Coming in number 39, we have Cobra Kai, Season 6, Episode 12. I forgot the title, but it doesn't matter. So I know a lot of people actually do not like this episode. A lot of people say, oh, the first 2 episodes of Part 3 were awful. A lot of those first 2 episodes were a lot more fluid and a lot more interesting than most episodes this season, because this episode definitely has some dumb moments. This right here, this whole Chosen and this, like, I know some like love, like witchcraft. I really don't know what, like zodiac signs. I don't know what was going on, to be honest. And then you get more stuff. You get the whole you get obviously just a stupid scene where they're training and they use this VR thing, this freaking Henry Danger freaking lab rats like Disney Plus show stuff here. This technology that is so stupid, so unrealistic. It literally dumbs down the show so badly. It makes it look like a kid's show off Disney. It was ridiculous. But outside of that, I thought the episode was really, really good at Johnny. Johnny, you know, the whole religious thing of him going up to Bobby and actually interested and caring about Carmen and everything. And then you get the whole part where she has the baby and, you know, it's proposed to her, and that whole scene at the end of everyone. This stuff was just really good. It was just really good. Some of the best moments of the show. And from watching the show from the beginning for years, it makes you feel like you've grown with these characters and you're there with them experiencing this moment, which is amazing moment for Johnny's character to have that kid and propose at the same time. So I love that for that. I'm going to give this episode a solid 7.8. I'm going to give it also a 7.8. You know what? We'll give it 7.9. We'll give it 7.9. It's a little better. It's not just because of those moments, but it's a good episode. Also, I love the Take Your Breath Away at the end of the song. Great song. I think it's from Top Gun, that song is. Anyway, we're sticking in season 6, going on over to 38, and this is an episode that a lot of people love. Like, this is one of the best episodes of Cobra Kai. My ass. But this is going to the finale of part 2, Cobra Kai season 6, episode 10. And don't get me wrong, this episode has a lot of good moments. The action, when there is action, it is really, really good. Some of the best action in the show. I like the whole training montage. I thought that was really fun. And I thought overall it was a decent episode, but it's almost everything outside of the tournament. You get more bickering between Johnny and Daniel. You get more stupid stuff around necessary. You get this whole stupid stuff where these Russian guys happen to get kicked out, and like Miyagi, I think it was Miyagi, they get eliminated, right? Or Cobra Kai gets eliminated, and these Russian guys happen to be doing heroin or like freaking, I don't know what they were doing, like some what was it even again? Like steroid or something, and they find out and they get kicked out, and it happens to bring Cobra Kai back in there. And then as they're fighting, they happen to show up and just full on punch the guy and go like, fight, and they all just start fighting. And I don't know why those are even fighting each other. They don't have beef. It's really just these guys. So it just seemed like such a boring and cheap way to make that brawl happen. The brawl was really good and energetic, but it made it feel meaningless the way it happened. It happened, and like a good plot happens because of good reasons. A good plot does not move over coincidence. And this is like coincidence after coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, and that's how you get to this big brawl. It should have been tension building and building and building, and then it just breaks. But no, it happens because of coincidence, and that's ridiculous. That's why I do not like this. But overall, the ending, obviously, I thought that was a great scene because it like takes everyone out of this karate war dilemma where they're just seeing a dead kid and they're all standing by each other. No one's fighting. It's just everyone there. Silver's in awe, Kreese is in awe, everyone just in awe. That scene right there was just so cool. I wish they went more deep into that besides completely forgetting about it in part 3 for the most part. But yeah, pretty decent episode. Not a great episode because of those moments, but I'm still going to give this a 7.9. Coming at 37, we're going back to season 1. We got season 1, episode 4, Cobra Kai Never Dies. Bro, by the way, that's one of the most iconic phrases, and this episode has that title at all 65. So, yeah, kind of a waste of title because that title could have been for a lot better episode. But this episode's still good. It's still good. I mean, this episode is more of a pause in the story because, like, the whole, Miguel can't fight because his mom's saying no, and Johnny's kind of dealing with the whole Robbie stuff and the whole billboard stuff, obviously, and then you got the whole thing with the feeder and Sam, and you got the whole everything. A lot of it is just a lot of unnecessary drama, but my best part about this episode is just Johnny feeling hopeless, Johnny actually trying to help Robbie, going over to his ex-wife, I forgot her name, like Charlene or something, I don't know, but she's just being an a-hole, saying it's too late. And then even that one scene where he just reflecting on everything, and he's sitting there seeing like a father and a son eating ice cream and seeing how much he missed out, and then going over there and actually trying to right his mistake right with Miguel because that's his only hope. Such good stuff. That's really the heart of Cobra Kai, and especially season 1. A flawed father needing a unwanted son. That's really what it's about. That's what it's been about since 84, and it shows it here beautifully. So I'm going to give this episode a 7.9. Really good to its core, but a lot of unnecessary stuff and kind of filler. And coming at 36, another episode people might have thought would have been lower, but it's not. And this is going to season 4, episode 8, the party time. So yes, this episode has one of the worst moments in the shows. The whole prom stuff was horrible. It was like a cancer. It was terrible. I mean, you have them just looking at each other, not moving, these corny dances in their face. Oh, you want another of my cupcake? And then they just start fighting each other. You think you broke my heart? You broke mine too. It was just not good. It was not good at all. I'm going home. Yeah, me too. It was bad. It was bad. But this episode still has a lot of good moments. The Silver stuff, him breaking into his madness and beating him Stingray, was seeing him actually have a breakdown was so good. Seeing the Johnny stuff of Miguel going into him and say, I love you too, Robbie, added some of the best acting, some of the best emotional elements. And overall, this episode had a lot of fun moments outside of the prom. So I'm not going to hand it as much as other people do. It still had some bad moments, but I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Our first 8 out of 10. Pretty solid episode. And man, we still have 35 episodes left, and we're already inside the 8 out of 10s. This shows how good the show is. But anyway, coming in at 35, we're going back to season 5, episode 3, Fire and Ice. Now, when I first watched this episode, I loved it. I thought this was like one of the best episodes in the show. I had held back a bit, because there was some stupid stuff between Miguel and Sam not texting each other, and I don't know why it's even a problem. Like, why is Sam even mad at Miguel? Because I'm gonna remind me, because he went to go see his father he hasn't seen in his whole life. Like that's so much for emotional support. Kick a man when he's down. But you get to see more of Sam's stuff about like her 2.0 and who she really is, and I thought that was really interesting, especially because her character in the show hasn't really had an identity. That could have been something that was really interesting to refine herself. But I don't like how she handles it by breaking up with Miguel. It seemed really selfish, honestly. Especially how she treats him after, treating him all awkward, kind of not talking to him, and they get mad at him when he does something else. But I love the Mike Barnes stuff of Chosen going after Mike Barnes. I thought that was really good, and obviously Silver burning down the place was really intense. So I thought the episode had a lot of good moments, but it definitely wasn't as good as I remember. But it's still an 8 out of 10. Solid episode. But coming at 34, going back to season 1. This is season 1, episode 8, Molting. Pretty solid episode. I really love this. What's going on here? First off, the whole training stuff in the beginning with the rabbit dogs. Seeing Sam kind of split between, do I tell Miguel, do I tell Daniel, and that kind of stuff I thought was pretty interesting at first, showing that she does definitely care for both. But obviously, I think she handled it pretty long. Seeing the conversation of Johnny to Miguel, giving his perspective of the whole stuff, which was clearly biased, but still. And even from that, you go from more Daniel and Robbie training. You get to see the whole ending where Miguel goes up to talk to Sam and she sees Robbie. Yeah, so the episode was pretty good. I really like what they did here. I'm going to give this a 3. No, wow, it's not that bad. No, an 8 out of 10. Damn. Yeah, good episode. Coming at 33, we're going back to season 2. Season 2, episode 5, All In. Directed by Jerry Jones. Yeah, this episode had some great moments. It also had some bad moments, but overall, I thought it was really good. I actually really do like the old Dimitri stuff, because before he was really just annoying, like nag of a character. He actually was this guy who was like had no confidence and kind of relied on humor to carry himself. And the guy was really just dorky and weak and just has no motivation or effort. And seeing Daniel actually help that person and push that person, I thought was really good. Obviously, we don't see it that much this episode, but I thought it was still really good. Seeing Kreese get more involved in the stuff and pushing the students into someone Johnny doesn't want him to be and pushing them to do stuff. You get the whole mall fight, which I thought was pretty good. And then you get obviously Hawk going off and trashing Miyagi-Do. And I love the scene where Daniel just pulls up in Cobra Kai, gets right in Johnny's face. And I thought it was just so cool. And this scene Kreese in the background, it's like Palpatine watching Vader versus Luke Skywalker, seeing destruction, what he wants to see. Like, oh, I love this. I thought this episode had a lot of good moments. I'm going to give it an 8.1 out of 10. And coming up 32, we got season 1, episode 2, the second episode in the show. I think it's called Strike First. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Strike First. This is our first introduction to characters like Hawk and Dimitri and more of Sam and, Daniel's life. And I think that episode was really well. Seeing Miguel's in school hanging out and, just seeing that whole aspect was really cool. I do really love the whole stuff with him and Johnny training, some really good comedy moments, really fun moments. And then, yeah, you get more of the ending where Johnny gets frustrated with Robbie and then he, makes Miguel punch harder and harder. And then you get the ending where Daniel finds out that Johnny is, instigating and fought Kyler. And then he goes there and, confronts him. And that just starts the new rival where Johnny's smiling at him. It was a good episode. I always love season 1 early episodes. They were so fun. I'm gonna give this an 8.1 out of 10. But coming in at 31, we're going back to season 4, episode 1. I think this is Let's Begin. So this episode's a little nostalgia or bias towards me because this episode is really special to me because this episode was like premiered 3 days before the show on December 28th, and you can only get a code to get in, and I got the code to get in to watch it, and I remember just being so excited and waiting all day like Christmas, and I just it really hold a lot of special place to me. A little bit embarrassing though when I watched this. When Silver kicks that bottle that says Cayman, I thought I said Carmen, and I made a whole video saying, "Oh my gosh, this means Silver's Miguel's dad." Yeah, that was an embarrassing moment. Please do not look that up. But yeah, this episode actually was good. It's not like I was only up there because I'm biased. You just see Johnny and Daniel training, actually being frustrated about training, and that is okay. Like I know I give a lot of crap about the arguing, but this is our first time outline. It makes sense. But the good thing about it is that you see that they care. You see that they're trying. And you see that they go to their house and actually try. You see Silver for the first time in years and seeing Silver actually try to live a good life. And, I think this has a lot of good moments with Robbie being with Cobra Kai for the first time and Tori and that stuff. I thought it was a good episode. A really good introduction to the season, which the next two episodes were kind of a mess that we already talked about. But all this introduction has set up the ground rule of what season 4 is going to be. And I thought it did it pretty well. I'm going to give this an 8.2 out of 10. But coming in at 30, we're going back to season 3, and this is season 3, episode 1, Aftermath. I love this. They really deal with the hardcore emotional moments following season 2 and where Johnny is, and to see Johnny like that, and to see everyone kind of scarred by this, including Sam, who can't even go to school. She feels like that was the introduction of her PTSD, of them trying to find Robbie and that whole stuff. And then, at the end with Johnny saying that little speech to Daniel as he's, unconscious, and then Daniel and Johnny come together to try to go find Miguel, and then I'm pretty sure it ends with Miguel waking up. So it was a really good introduction. I love this episode. I'm gonna give this a 8.3 out of 10. Fantastic episode. Coming at 29, we're going back to season 1, episode 7, the All Valley. Fantastic episode where you see Johnny and Miguel both after going to trying to get something they want. With Sam, Miguel, he's trying to go on a date with Sam, and that goes really well, and you see some good moments there. And then you get to see the whole Johnny stuff, him going there, all in the suit. Daniel try to sabotage him, and then he just actually speaks from the heart. He's vulnerable, and he's actually speaking from the heart, and he gets rewarded for it. And I thought it was a beautiful moment by Johnny. We haven't really saw him open up about how much he cares about the dojo and students, and see, that was really, really cool. You also get to see more of Robbie trying to get away from his life and trying to get away from these people, and him actually fight against them and actually taking Daniel's teachings, which he went there just to go after Johnny. Now he's actually taking the teachings in rightfully, and that was just really good. You get the ending with Johnny and Miguel, which was really fun. So fantastic episode. I love this. I'm gonna give this an 8.3 out of 10. And then coming in at 28, we got another season opener. This is season 2, episode 10. I believe it's Mercy Part 2. Yeah, season 2 started off really well, and this episode individually was just great. Where they take everything that you left off of season 1 and they just keep it going. Obviously, you get the whole Kreese and Johnny stuff, and Johnny talking to Kreese and seeing Kreese, is actually, dealing with stuff, and you just see him more in a vulnerable way, which I thought was really, really good. Was he manipulating Johnny? Yes, he kind of was, but still, I still think there is truth element to that. You get to see more of the students, kind of losing their focus after the thing. You get to see Robbie going after Johnny. You get to see the whole first steps of Daniel and Sam and the whole Miyagi-Do and Robbie joining in. I thought it was a really good introduction to this season. I love this opener. I'm going to give this we'll give an 8.3 as well. I'm going to give this 8.3 out of 10. But right after that, we're going the episode right after that. Season 2, episode 2, Black in Black, or Back in Black. Obviously, the opening was awesome. To get AC/DC Back in Black. Awesome scene there, but this episode was just great all around. To see Robbie still dealing with his house issues, to see more training at Miyagi-Do, to see Kreese's finally at the Cobra Kai, and see him training. You get the training at the whole... the whole graveling cement. And yeah, a lot of good training, a lot of moments between the characters, and you get to see Johnny and Daniel's first interaction with Kreese and Johnny at the end, just adding more to the rival. So I thought it was a really fun episode. I'm going to give this an 8.4 out of 10. I love this episode. And coming at 26, we got season 2, episode 9. So some people love the whole house party drama, some people don't. I'm kind of in the middle. I think there's a fun side to it. It is nice seeing Hawk and Dimitri actually start acting normal again for a while before, you can clearly see that Hawk has, ego issues and, he's insecure about things. And you get a lot of interesting moments there. Robbie trying to be nice, Robbie trying to help Sam, but when you get to the stuff where it's like the whole Miguel kissing Sam and that whole stuff, it was kind of crazy. I don't know if I like it or not. I'm just gonna say it was crazy. But the reason why that episode's higher is more of because of outside of that. Love the whole Johnny and Daniel stuff at the Mexican restaurant, trying to not like each other, but they secretly know that they kind of have some respect for each other. And Daniel finding out that Johnny kicked Kreese out, that he actually is trying to do his best for his students and see them actually have fun for the first time. It was just so good to see. It was just, especially where they were at in the show, to see that was amazing. Crazy to act that they had more civil moments in this episode than they did most of season 6. But yeah, I really like that stuff. It was really fun. I'm gonna give this, and by the way, Stingray was awesome this episode. You gotta love Stingray. I'm gonna give this an 8.4 out of 10. Solid episode. And here we are, our top 25. We're going back to season 6, episode 6. Season 1, episode 6, Quiver. Love this episode. To see Johnny actually teaching a full class, and you get the flashbacks of him when he was a kid and him, being treated so wrongly by his father and using karate to actually help himself. That whole element was really good to see how he teaches. First of all, the comedy moments are amazing. His insults never get old. But actually see him doing that, and seeing, Miguel, you don't know what it's like to be you know what it's like to be a loser. And then see Johnny actually know what it's like to be that way. But he's really trying to do tough love, but he does feel bad, and he shows a lot of cool elements with the flashbacks and that whole stuff. I just loved it. But then you get to see Robbie go up to Daniel and start training for the first time, and then you get an end scene where Hawk flips the script, and then he smiles in the camera as you get that shot, full class. Love that stuff. By the way, that was the real ending in season 6. Not that stupid stuff with the fly. The real ending is Johnny smiling. That's a perfect ending. Not that dumb fly stuff. I don't know what they were doing there, but I'll talk about that when I get there. But anyway, that's number 25. I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10. Love this stuff. Love the elements of Johnny being a sensei and trying to balance the good and bad in him. But coming at 24, we're going to season 5, the episode before the finale, Survivor, season 5, episode 9. Episode had a lot of great moments. Obviously, this stuff, the whole stuff with the party and stuff, and just seeing them actually having fun and bonding was always good to see. But to see the kids, I think it's a cool element to see. Have the kids going off doing all these serious stuff while all the adults are just partying. I thought it showed a lot of cool elements there. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but to see them going after, and to see what Tori's going through, where she breaks the fist, and to see her go for more pain and more manipulation, and to see them going after Stingray and trying to find more about Silver and everything and what actually happened. And then the best part of this is Sam going up to Tori and having that conversation. One of the best moments in the show, one of the best moments in her character, and then end with Mike Barnes inside the car as what the hell's going on. By the way, they were singing Eye of the Tiger. That just adds a little boost. But yeah, this episode was really good, showing a lot of characters broken, and showing a lot of characters trying to work together and trying to do what's right. So I like that. I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10. And then coming at 23, we're going back to season 6 to end part 2. This is Blood In, Blood Out, season 6, episode 9, I believe, right? Yes. So this episode was just really, really good. I really like what they did here. First off, it has some of the best action and fighting scenes in the show, not just in the season, in the show. Obviously, I love the fight between Tori, and I like the fight between Robbie, and I like all the fights that they do here. But I really think that the best parts of this episode is the scene where they're all inside the place, and they're saying, talking about how this is our last fight together, that we are Miyagi-Do. And I felt such an emotional moment. Yeah, they kind of throw that away after they joined Cobra Kai, and that kind of just ruined that whole moment, kind of. But at the end of the day, it's not really about the name, it's really about them. And I thought that's what it's shown. and I thought it was really emotional because it was the last time these guys are filming. These are the last time we're gonna watch the show. It truly was the last time, in and out of everything, and I thought that was a really good element. And you get the action. I like the opening with Silver and showing how dark he went after that loss. Wish they went more deep into that before, blowing him up. But yeah, this episode I thought was really, really good. Done really, really well. I'm going to give this an 8.5 as well. I like this episode a lot. But coming at 22, we're going back to peak cinema. Good old season 3. This is season 3, episode 8, The Good, the Bad, and the Badass. And yeah, this has, like I said, it has 3 elements. It has the whole Johnny stuff, the whole Daniel stuff, and the whole Kreese stuff. And I think they add all these elements in perfectly. I thought this was one of the best paced episode in the show, and that says a lot because Cobra Kai's biggest flaw is pacing. But yeah, I think they show a lot of stuff. First, I see, more of Miguel back in school and him getting back with Sam. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but it is what it is. I love the training of Eagle Fang and Miguel trying and Miguel kind of being embarrassed that he can't do it, and Miguel saying feeling like he has to prove himself again. Where he says I need to prove myself again. You get more stuff of Robbie and Tori connecting to each other and actually find out that they both deal with a lot of trauma the same. You get to see more of Johnny and Carmen talking again. You get the whole comedy thing where they all go up there and Miguel gives that great speech about karate, and even later on in the episode you get Johnny and Carmen back together, and you get Robbie walking in on Kreese, which love the final cool shot of him just doing that evil smirk. So I love this episode. Good old season 3 always happens to make me have a big smile on my face. So I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10 as well. Fantastic episode. But coming at 21, we got season 1, episode 5. I believe it's called Counterbalance. Yes, Counterbalance. Really good episode. Right in the middle of the season, has all the core elements of the first part and the last part of this season all added into one. You just see Daniel acting slimy, going after Johnny, going after his business, and really kicking Johnny when he's down, when he's trying to sell stuff and trying to do stuff for his students. And you see Daniel doing it, and you understand Daniel's perspective of what Cobra Kai did and what he thinks Johnny is. But you see in Johnny for these moments. That's why Cobra Kai is so good, especially season 1, where season 1 had the best writing in the show, where they're showing all these elements and how they collide in the gray area. And then even Amanda blows up in Daniel's face about that. You get to see the whole fight at the school between Miguel, which we finally see him, the progress. We see him giving him the gi and Robbie looking at it, which adds more elements. You get the scene with Daniel outside Miyagi's grave, which is a beautiful scene. The music, the cinematography, the acting, everything was done perfectly there. Even gets the flashback of him. And then you get Daniel with all students, Johnny of all students there, and he finally has students. But the ending is even better when Daniel puts on his Karate Kid gi and his Karate Kid headband, and you get the original Karate Kid music. And boy, seeing that for the first time was awesome. And even now, so this episode was just really good, fantastic episode. I'm gonna give this an 8.6 out of 10. Gotta love it. But coming at 20 is an episode that I'm thinking about right now and kind of want to make it even higher, but we'll put it here for sakes of whatever. Season 3, episode 6, King Cobra. Man, what an episode. First off, you get the flashback between Kreese, Young Silver, and literally are the core elements of his character and why he's such a good character of, he's trained to kill, show no mercy, and then he showed mercy because of his friends, and because of that, more people died, and he almost died. So I think that is so real for his character, and I think it adds so much more elements to his character and why Kreese is such a good character. Outside of that, you can just see some of the best comedy moments in the show, with whole Johnny and Miguel stuff, about the whole Instagram stuff with Ali and the photos. It was just really fun stuff. It's just stuff that you can just watch with a big smile on your face, and they can never get taken away. You get the Hawk stuff, where Hawk goes and he beats up Brooks in one of his most badass moments ever, where he takes it off, and then he starts punching him, and then Kreese goes fencing. Before he can even say it, boom, 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 you get Hawk soundtracked, blood on his thing, spits on him, looks at Kyler right in the face. He can't look him in the eye. To see Hawk where he was in season 1, not even covering his face, he could barely even look at people. See that, and you went on the journey with him, man, that was awesome. And it's honestly sad how he turned out later in the show. You get the moment where Johnny and Danny are arguing, and then he's actually standing and they hug each other, and then It's just so good. This episode's so good. I love season 3. Oh my god, I love season 3. Anyway, I made a 40-minute video on why season 3 is so good, so check that out if you really want to hear me yap about it. But anyway, there's that. Oh, I'm gonna give this a point. I want to give it a 8.7, but I'm debating myself right now. Let's we'll give it an 8.6. 8.6. We'll give it that. But coming in number 19, we got season 2, episode, I believe 6. Yes, episode 6. And this is where we get to see Johnny go on his trip with all the original Cobras. And it was such a heartwarming moment to see them back together. And the saddest part of this is to see Tommy die, where the actor in real life has died. It was a real emotional scene with great music played by Queen. Then you get even more elements with the whole Kreese stuff back at home and teaching stuff, and Miguel being more manipulated, but not really. Like, he's being manipulated, but he's kind of not, because he understands. Like what Tori said, like, you got to fight for everything you got, and I think it adds so much elements to the show. Why Cobra Kai so good? The gray areas they show. So this episode is just really good, really well done, really well acted, and I really love what they do here. I'm gonna also give this an 8.6 out of 10. Coming in at 18 is season 3, episode 2, Nature versus Nurture, Neutral versus Nature, something like that. Season 3 is so good, even a random episode 2 can make the top 20. So, but yeah, this episode was fantastic. First off, this is our first time we get to see the Kreese flashbacks. So I already told you what I love about the Kreese flashbacks. You get to see more of it there. You get to see Johnny and Daniel going after Robbie, and the whole stuff there with Robbie and him, going to juvie, and even though not what he wants, and he gets mad at Daniel, it was for the best of him. So I thought that was really, really good there. You see more of Hawk, kind of showing some sympathy for kicking out people, and see that they're still good in Hawk, which continues his great redemption in season 3. Kreese going after Tori and seeing her living life. The first time, season 2, Tori's portrayed as a raging lunatic. Season 3, she is actually just shown as a girl struggling through a lot of pain, and Kreese can relate to that because of the flashbacks we see. And you get to see Kreese and Tori both help each other. Two broken people, two people that are portrayed as villains, doing what's right, trying to help each other out. More great stuff there. You get to see Johnny going up to Daniel, where he's like, going up to Miguel, like, I trusted you, like, you need to leave. Great acting, great emotional moments, and really some of the best core elements of season 3 is that there. Even this fight here where, you can see, Johnny has just lost his mind and he's kind of irrational at the moment. But yeah, this episode was just done really, really well. And then it ends with Tori joining Cobra Kai. So I love this episode. I'm going to give this also an 8.6 out of 10. Frick that. I'm going to give it an 8.7. Yeah, I like this episode. But coming in at number 17, I'm going season 1, episode 9. Love this episode, mainly because of the Daniel and Johnny stuff, to see them with each other, listen to, Speedwagon, going off, looking at the old places, bonding, and see the whole stuff with the whole beach stuff with Sam, Miguel, and Robbie. And then to have them come back together, and Robbie trying to talk to Daniel, and then Daniel sees Johnny sees Daniel, and Daniel feels betrayed by Robbie. Boy, do you guys not know how good this writing is? Man, this episode is fantastic. I'm going to give this also an 8.7. Great episode. But coming in at number 16, I'm going season 3, episode 3. What's it called? Good question. Now you're going to pay. I had to look it up. Okay. Episode's fantastic. First off, you see Johnny walking in on, Bobby at the church, and to see them talking, and you get to get the elements between Robbie inside juvie, and he's struggling and he gets in the fights, and it feels like people do not care for him. You see Johnny trying to better himself, trying to get a job, but he keeps getting turned down. You get to see Johnny trying to sell stuff, he can't make money. You get to see Johnny even going back to his old stepdad, and even then he can't do anything. He feels so hopeless. And then one of the best moments is where he promises to go see Robbie, right? And he's there with Carmen, and and they're like, you guys stay here for Miguel, and you see how it struggles Johnny and how it's not an easy decision for him, but he plans to stay there. And you understand Johnny's perspective of being there for Miguel after the injury and everything, and after the last conversation. But then you get to see Robbie there with Bobby all alone with no Johnny, him actually trying there, because maybe Johnny thought he's probably not even going to be there. He probably wouldn't even care, but he did care, and he was there, and now he feels betrayed even worse, which leads me more into his fallen arc and him falling into the dark side. This episode just shows so many good moments, man. So many good stuff. And I just love it. I really do. It's just so good. So I'm going to give this an 8.8 out of 10. I love it. And we're finally there about an hour later. Our top 15 episodes of Cobra Kai. From here on out, every episode is elite. Now, some of the other episodes of Type of 4, they're also elite, but these ones, they're going to get truly elite. When we start getting to our 9 out of 10s, and I'll say right now, there's only one 10 out of 10 episode. There's a lot of great episodes, but there's only one that I think is a 10 out of 10. The 10 out of 10 is the greatest episodes you ever see, where you can put all these episodes that are great you ever seen in a category. If one episode doesn't feel like it should be in the same category as another 10 out of 10, then it's not a 10 out of 10. So that's kind of my criteria there. But coming at 15, we're going season 5, episode 5, Extreme Measures. Man, this episode's great. First off, you guys see Johnny trying to be better, trying to help, Robbie and Miguel work together, but they can't. You see Daniel, he's kind of drunk. He's kind of, losing his mind almost because of the whole stuff with Amanda and everything. You get to see him going after Stingray and acting irrational and, trying to beat him up. The only bad part about this was that whole stupid kind of bar fight with Amanda. I mean, I'm not sure what they were doing there, but I love the moment where Daniel goes to Johnny like, oh, we got to go after Silver. I know he's doing it. Johnny's like, I don't want to do it. Johnny's more of a family man now, and he's not as aggressive. And, Daniel calls him a pussy. Like, what are you, a pussy? And what does Daniel do? What does Johnny do? In season 4, what he would have done, and in season 6, what he would have done is punch him in the face. He doesn't here. He steps back, calms him down, and actually helps him as a friend. That's what Johnny was supposed to be. That's what he was growing to be. From 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, he built this to get there. He earned it, and we earned it as an audience to see him get there. Beautiful moment. Why they messed that up in season 6 of part 1 and part 2, I don't know. But that was fantastic. And then you even get the fight between Robbie and Miguel, where, it's such a good moment where Miguel can actually kick Robbie over, but he doesn't, and he forgives him, and they respect each other. So good there. And then you get God, I love this scene where Johnny goes to Silver saying he's done, but Silver has him wrapped in his head. And Silver, what he does, he manipulates him to punch him and fight him. And I remember this scene, I love the scene where he looks at his hand and he sees the blood on his hand, seeing flashbacks of when he manipulated him 30 years ago. When you look at his blood, he's looking at blood in his hand, realizing that I'm in his mind game and I can't get out. And he looks at him and he has a smile on his face and he knocks him out. This is why Silver's such a good villain. Oh my gosh. And then it ends seeing Kreese for the first time, which was really exciting, of season 5. Man, that episode's good. I'm gonna give this episode a 9 out of 10. Wow. And then coming in at 14, we got season 3, episode 9, Field and Night, a Cobra Kai and a Christmas special. That's like my 2 favorite things, Cobra Kai and Christmas. I love this episode. Seeing Johnny with Allie and seeing that whole stuff and seeing him kind of, this is a person that he's been heartbroken over for 30 years. But now he has Carmen, and to see him actually, first off, the scenes of them together are amazing, great comedy moments, the whole cheeseburger stuff. And, just seeing that whole stuff and then seeing them going off to fun and stuff. And you get the soundtrack to Feel the Night. Probably one of my favorite Karate Kid soundtracks ever. Brings a lot of nostalgia. And to see, Johnny actually kind of change his way of not going after not going after Allie. And then you get to the whole end scene of, Johnny and Daniel at the Christmas place. You get the whole stuff with Robbie and Tori. You get more stuff with Miguel and Daniel talking more for the first time. I thought this episode was just really fun and really well done, and it truly was just a happy, good, well done, well episode. I'm gonna give this also a 9 out of 10. Great episode. But number 13 is the episode some of you guys probably been waiting for. This is going to the Cobra Kai episode, the one and the only Cobra Kai season 1, episode 1. The first episode in Cobra Kai. And what can I say about this episode that has not been said? Ace Degenerate does something so spectacular, because I think this episode capitulates what Cobra Kai is about. The whole core elements of the entire show was shown in this episode. To see Johnny from a broken man trying to better himself and trying to struggle down, and to see the layers between his character and how he is now, and of Daniel and everything. And this episode might not look as good, like people might say, oh, how can you put this over episodes that has a lot more good, better moments? It's just the first episode. so much special place to me, and this episode is like a movie in and of itself. It feels like its own separate story, and it feels like an episode that I think you can always look back on and always respect and care about, and always pay homage to, that paved the way for one of the greatest shows of all time. The episodes that I talked about before and after would be nothing without this episode, and it would be nothing without setting the tone of this show. That's why this episode belongs here, and I'm going to give this a 9.2 out of 10. We'll go 9.1. Number one. But it's still, I love this episode. Ace Generate, fantastic. But coming in at 12, we have season 4, episode 9, The Fall. Love this episode. You get the whole All Valley stuff. I know a lot of people give a lot of crap about the whole Carrie Underwood song, but like, is it really that bad, guys? Like, it's just a fun montage. A little unnecessary, but who cares? It's fun, all right? But this episode, you get some great fights between a lot of characters. First off, you get the whole Tori versus Devin fight, which I thought was fun. You get the whole moment where you see Hawk, it's no more Hawk, I'm just Eli, and he goes after there and he beats Kyler, which is a really good moment for him, because he's been down almost the whole show. You get to see the whole Robbie versus Kenny, where he's split between Silver and Kreese, kind of like the devil and the nicer devil on my shoulder, where he actually does like brutally hurt him, embracing his Cobra Kai away, and he feels horrible after it. And then you get the whole Miguel versus Eli, where Miguel gets hurt. And this episode was just tense from beginning to end, and it's some of the best action in the show, and it adds a lot of emotional elements that's been following, like the whole Eli and Robbie stuff. I love this episode. I'm gonna give this a 9.2 out of 10. Great episode. But coming in at 11 will be an episode a lot of people will be shocked it's not in top 10, because this is some people's top 5 episodes, might be someone's favorite. But I'm going season 2, episode 10. Look, this episode was amazing. By the way, it's called No Mercy. Perfect title for this episode. I think it has some of the best action in the show. I do. And the one-shot frame in the school fight was so good. It reminds me of Daredevil, but more Cobra Kai. Love it. And the ending is dramatic and well acted and intense and beautiful in a way. I thought it's really well done of Johnny giving up Cobra Kai. But the episode really is just that for most of it. It's pretty short. It starts off mainly with Daniel and Johnny fighting. They go to the school, they fight, and then Miguel gets hurt. It seems pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of other elements to this. And also has a couple corny moments, like the whole she's in love, she loves me, and that whole stuff, or like the movie Learning from Your Dad. A couple stuff that's like, okay, that's a bit much, but I thought the action was amazing. I thought the emotional moments at the end was amazing. And yeah, I'm certainly not gonna say this episode is bad, but when I look at the episodes as some of the greatest episodes of Cobra Kai, I don't think it has enough volume outside of the action to pull it in the top 10. With that being said, I'm not saying negative stuff about this because it's still a lot really good. It's just I know a lot of people will expect it, so I feel like I gotta defend why it's a little lower. With that being said, it's still a 9.2 out of 10. It's a fantastic episode. I love this. And guys, here we are. We're finally there. The top 10 episodes in Cobra Kai history. Let me know yours in the comments below. Let's do this. Coming number 10, we have season 5, episode 6. A name I cannot pronounce. This episode was fantastic. From the get-go, you see Daniel broken, giving up on karate, kind of leaving everything behind. You get to see more of Kreese with Tori, and Tori kind of feeling trapped in the dojo with Kim coming in. You get to see Kreese getting more hackled in jail, and seeing him talk to this therapist girl where, he'd actually open up about his emotions of what he felt about how he betrayed Johnny and how he betrayed everyone. And, you get those flashbacks of young Johnny to actually see in Tori, and to actually see him break down, even his younger self. Those moments of Kreese you cannot take away. Some of the best moments from his character, which are just beautiful. Outside of that, you get to see Johnny and Chosen both stepping up for their friend Daniel, going up to the dojo and whooping all the sensei's asses, which was amazing to see. After that, you get more scenes of them all talking, and then you get the Kreese fight in jail, which I thought was really cool. But then you get the end scene, which is just beautiful, where Daniel's there and Robbie's there at Miyagi, saying what he did for him and what you did for me and what you did for everyone. And he steps out there. All the students are there for him. He goes out there. Johnny, Chosen. They all come together. They all look at each other and they all bow. One of the most beautiful moments in the show. Enough to almost make me cry, honestly. Truly, one of the best moments in the entire show. And it really added so much more into when you get to the finale of season 5. Love this episode. Really good. I'm going to give this a 9.2 out of 10. But coming at 9, we have our second finale of a season. And this is going to season 1, episode 9. I believe it's called Mercy. Is that what it's called? Yes, Mercy. So this episode was just really well done. And not as much action, but I thought seeing Johnny and seeing the Cobra Kai win, but seeing him win the wrong way, and to see Johnny actually seat there. The whole season he's been working so hard to get this win, but now that he's pushed him farther that he didn't know he wanted him to push, now he's there looking at the glory and seeing what he turned his students into, sitting there. Everyone will smile at you. It doesn't have a smile on his face. Such a good moment. Then you get the moment where Kreese walks in at the end in that cliffhanger. I love this episode. Not as much action, but I thought it's a fantastic episode. Really well done. This deserves definitely to be a top 10 episode. I'm going to give this a 9.3 out of 10. But coming in at number 8, we have Cobra Kai Season 3, Episode 5, Miyagi-Do. Yes, another Season 3 episode. Won't be the last. Episode's amazing. For you to do the whole Chosen and Daniel stuff at Korea, you guys see Kreese come over to Robbie and start to talk to him and start to, like I said, you can say manipulation, but I think he actually truly cares. And I think that the stuff he's saying is true to a degree. You get to see more of Johnny trying to help Miguel try to walk in more comedy, fun ways. You get to learn more about Miyagi-Do history. Then you get the whole fight at the arcade where Sam breaks down because of her PTSD, and you get to see Hawk, breaking Dimitri's arm where he didn't want to, but he kind of felt like he had to, and you saw the sympathy in his face after all that. And even continue on, you get the fight between Chosen and more stuff there. And then you get the whole party scene at D. Snyder. I thought that was a really fun moment to see that with Johnny and Miguel, and he starts tapping his toe for the first time. And then you just see that Daniel gets his car business paid off, the whole stuff with the girl that he saved years ago, showing, you put good in the world, they'll come back to you. A true beautiful message that I believe in real life, that it might be 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. One day you put good in the world, good will come back to you. And it shows there with Daniel. I thought it was great. And then it ends with, the whole alley stuff with Miguel, with Johnny, seeing her for the time. Just such a good episode. So much stuff happening in such good ways. It's like 3 stories all in one. They're all beautifully great and all amazing. It's just a great episode right in the middle of season 3. I'm going to give this a 9.3 out of 10. And coming in at 7 is the episode right before that episode. This is going to Cobra Kai season 3, episode 4, The Right Path. Look, this episode's a lot more personal to me just because of how much I love the Miyagi character. But you get this scene where, Daniel is struggling and he's trying to find out, not just, this, but his life and what he plans to do with his students and everything that's happened and going on. And then they read those letters that it feels like he's actually talking to him to this day. One of the best emotional scenes. And, to have Mr. Miyagi so involved in the story after all that is amazing. And outside of that, it's still a great episode. You get to see Johnny trying to help Robbie at the place, but he kind of gets turned down at the whole food place. You get to see, the Hawk and the rival and how he's turning more evil there. You get to see, the whole soccer thing, which I thought was a little stupid, but still, you get to see Johnny and Kreese trying to talk to Johnny, and more elements there of Kreese actually wanting to help Johnny and actually wanting to do something. And yeah, then you get that place where Miguel or Johnny, just like in season 1, who gets turned down by Robbie, he goes back to Miguel and he tells Miguel to walk, but he just falls down. But it's a good start for everything. And then I believe this is the episode where you get the fight between Robbie and all those people. Is that the episode? No, I don't think it is. But still, it's a fantastic episode. I love it. And yeah, the ending where Chosen comes in was even cooler. So great episode. I'm going to give this a 9.3. I'm going to give it 9.3. So yeah, great episode. And coming in number 6, we're going Cobra Kai Season 6, Episode 14, Strike Last. This would be even way higher if it wasn't for two scenes, and I'll get them out of the way. First off, the whole Miyagi AI stuff. I do not like them making Miyagi AI. I thought it's a great scene, though, with the whole Johnny's, with the whole Miguel. I mean, geez, with the whole Daniel stuff, and he acted very, very well, more like his younger self. But still, I just do not like them using the dead man's face. It doesn't look good either. It's just bad. And obviously, the end scene, where it's one of the worst scenes it's the worst scene in Cobra Kai history and one of the worst scenes in cinema history. The fact this episode is even top 20, considering the scene that's in here, shows how good this episode is with outside of it. You get Miguel, you get Kreese and Silver, where Silver is now on a boat and he's trying to try and go after Kreese's, trying to go after Johnny's, Carmen and his family. And Kreese somehow finds that place and sneaks on there. I don't know how he sneaks on there and what he's like hiding behind boxed or something, but he sneaks back there and he just slits Dennis's throat. And then by the time that Silver gets there, he must have ran upstairs, lit a cigar, and just sat up there waiting for him to come. What if Silver had a gun? What if Silver had a gun and just shot you? But no, he just sets up a cigar. He goes up there and they start fighting each other. And you end the Kreese character off. First, I like the message where he's dying, sacrificing for Johnny. I think that's amazing. That's what I've been saying they should do. But the way you do it, where there's gasoline and it starts a fire, and he goes, and Silver in slow motion, no, and he goes mercy, and it's explode up. The fact you end both of those characters, one of the best villains of all time, and the best anti-heroes of all time, in the most 80 cheesiest, corniest way ever, like a cartoon villain death on Saturday night in 1982, December 6th. The fact that you would do that to those characters is disrespectful. It truly is, and it's a terrible scene. When they're fighting, you can see Kreese's stunt double terribly. I know he's older and he's stunt double. In season 3, we could see that a bit, but this is not this right here. They didn't his hair is a completely different color, and you can at least see his face as they're punching. Like the choreographing is awful. So you end the characters in a sloppy way. It's terrible. But outside of that, this episode was amazing. You get the whole them back in Cobra Kai and the elements of him training Miguel again, and just like in season 1, the whole Tori stuff. And then you get the fights. First off, the Tori and Zara fight was amazing, and Robbie's saying "I love you," and she goes up to her and beats him. Amazing scene there. And then you get the Miguel stuff where Miguel goes after there and he fights them, and he's down. It's like he's fighting a machine in Axel, like almost like Robbie versus Drago. But he goes out there and Johnny gives that speech, you're Miguel Diaz, you're Cobra Kai, you're badass, go out there and do it. You get all the flashbacks of everything he's been through as he's jumping in the air from day one, everything you've been through with this character, and he makes a kick and he wins. Such a good moment, such a good scene. Amazing. And then that's pretty much the episode. Amazing episode outside of that scene. I'm going to give this a 9.4 out of 10. It could be a 9.8, maybe a 10 out of 10 if it wasn't for that scene. So, great episode. But here we are, our top 5. All these episodes here are peak cinema, some of my favorite episodes in all of cinema. I plan to make a video one day, like my top, like maybe like 50 or maybe top 25 favorite episodes of all time. I'm sure in my top 25, at least 3, maybe 5 of these will all be in here because they're all so good. I don't know. I like a lot of shows, so it's hard for me to rank those. But coming in number 5, we have season 4 finale, The Rise. Has really everything you want, man. First off, the action's amazing. The action's awesome. Outside of the whole Kenny stuff in the beginning, it's a great episode. First off, you get to see Miguel, and he's not injured, and he feels like everything he's fought for, it feels on focus. But then you get the fight between Eli and Robbie, and it's such a good fight. And then they take out their shirts, and it's so tense. Everything is going on just so good. But then ultimately Robbie falls because he gets distracted, just like everything. It's such a good arc that he fights for the right reasons and he loses, and then he fights for the wrong reasons and he still loses, and Eli wins his deserving win. It's so good for his character, and then it's even so good for Robbie's character to leave like that. But later on, Amanda talks to Tori, and Tori's redemption's arc's even going closer. You get Johnny and Daniel reline like, okay, Miyagi told me we fight our own way. We should fight together. And then they bow, and they finally find their balance together, and they join together. And Sam goes out there and fights Tori in such a good scene. But Sam is just not focused, right? She's fighting for the wrong reasons, and Tori's fighting for the right reasons. She even goes to help her, like, "Are you okay?" And then what happens? Silver says to show no mercy. You could play dirty, and then she says she doesn't want to. And then Kreese says, you see that small moment of that sympathy in his face, says, "You fight your own way." Kreese would never do that in his whole life. He would always put his dojo in that over his students, even Johnny. But here, he puts his dojo and his legacy and his empire in jeopardy just for Tori's sake. Such a good scene between them, and even shows Silver right there. Right there, I think Silver knew that Kreese has to go. But Tori fights the right way, and even though the refs were cheated, she fought the right way and she earned that thing there. And then you get to see Cobra Kai Miyagi-Do lose, just like Empire Strikes Back, like Avengers Infinity War. The bad guys won, and it's so tense. And then you just feel the trauma after of them Robbie going up to Johnny and breaking down and crying about everything that's happened. You get to see Silver betray Kreese and everything there. And then Miguel go to Mexico. And then you get to see Johnny at Miyagi's grave, and then Chosen comes playing some badass music. It's such a good episode. Such a good episode. I love this episode. This episode is going to get a 9.4 out of 10. Great episode. And coming out 4, it's another finale. This might be shocking to you, because this is most people's favorite episode. Most people I talk to, they clarify this is the greatest episode, and it's not top 3 for me. And it'd be very shocking considering how much I love this season. But this is going to the season 3 finale, December 19th. It has nothing to do with this episode. I can glorify this episode for days. It has everything to do with the episodes ahead of it. But this episode's amazing. The whole Vietnam flashbacks were amazing. The whole Christmas stuff with Allie and Johnny and everything was great. And the whole Christmas stuff at there and the whole house fight was amazing. The issue is, I don't think it's paced well. You get a Christmas party, a Vietnam flashback, and a teenage house fight. It just seems a little unfocused. But with that being said, the house fight's amazing between Sam getting her PTSD back and actually finding her balance and beating Tori and finding her and completing that arc and her PTSD and overcoming her fear. You get Hawk scene where he's looking at everyone fighting. He's forgetting Cobra Kai, forgetting Miyagi-Do. All he sees right now is his friends getting beat up, and he turns back into who he truly is and gets his redemption. You get Miguel beating up badly, and then he fights back and beats Kyler after his whole arc there. Then you get Johnny getting back and seeing Miguel beat up. He just bust right into the Kreese is just bust right into Cobra Kai, and he's going to fight him, but then he sees Robbie there, like, no, you can't do that. And Robbie's trying to fight him, but he doesn't want to hurt him, but then he does hurt him. And then Kreese right there is about to kill Johnny, literally. Like, I think that right there, he was fully ready to kill Johnny, but then Daniel comes to help him, and he fights him, and he does the pressure points, and then for the first time, you see fear in Kreese's eyes, and they knock him down, and then they all ally together that we're going to fight this, end this at the All Valley, and you get one of the best scenes in the air tonight, and Johnny walks out right while the drums play. You ready? Let's begin. Bam. What an episode. So, like I said, it has nothing to do with the episodes behind it. It has nothing to do with, like, this being a bad episode. It's not top 3, it's just the episode ahead of it. It's still going to get a 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic episode. But here we are, our top 3 episodes. Coming in number 3 is going to season 6, episode 13, Scalicans. I know a lot of people will be shocked by this. I know a lot of people will, but man, what can I say about this episode that isn't really self-explanatory how great it is? First off, the Robbie stuff. A lot of people don't like it. I love it. The Robbie stuff where he fights and he loses in glory. It shows so much that it's not about how it's like the whole Rocky. Like, my favorite movie of all time is Rocky 1. It's because he doesn't win. He puts in the effort and he fights and he goes all in. He gives his all. And that's all that truly matters. To that he went the distance and he still has what he has after the fight. That's what Robbie did, and he found the art in losing, the art in failure. And by the way, I'm a dumbass. The whole Miyagi AI stuff was this episode, which was bad. Sorry, I got that mixed up with the last one. But that was great. And outside of that, you can see Kreese going after Tori, talking to her. You can see Kreese going to Johnny, trying to right his wrongs. It is a little weird why it's happening now when he's a villain in all season 6, but whatever. You see Silver, like looking in the mirror and like having the flashbacks about, I need to win this. And you can see like him like almost losing his mind. And by the way, the Miguel and the Robbie and Axel fight was amazing, by the way. It was just phenomenal. And then even later on, you get to see the whole Sam, I don't want to fight anymore. That is not for me. Kind of a weird way for her to go out, but it is. And then you get to the whole end scene where you know what the scene is. It's probably my favorite scene in all Cobra Kai, where Johnny confronts Kreese, like, you abandoned me, like right when I needed you the most, you threw me away like trash, and you actually see him break down finally. These built-in emotions for years that he's always been hiding about him being a father figure is all breaking down right here. Some of the best acting moments in the show, some of the acting in the series, where he's crying and he goes like, "I'm so sorry, I wish I could do something to help you." Like, maybe there is. And there it is. He walks out there in the Cobra Kai gi right when they stop him and they start playing Thunderstruck. It's such a good moment, and it ends with Johnny looking at Kreese as he bows to him. What a great way to end their whole story throughout Karate Kid. Such a good episode. This episode is going to get a 9.5 out of 10. Great episode. Actually, I'm going to give the episode a 9.6, not a 9.5, because here we are at number 2. A lot of people will be wondering, what is it going to be? What's going to happen? Well, when I say this, you guys are probably going to know what my favorite is, but this is going to go number 2, season 5, episode 10. Okay, guys, you got to hear me out here. You guys probably already know what my favorite is now, but I'll get to that later. Right now, we're going to talk about this episode. Head of Snake probably should have been the ending of Cobra Kai. It starts off with the Kreese stuff of him breaking down about Johnny and everything. Yes, he did use that to get the key, but I still believe that was all true emotions. And then you get the stuff between Mike Barnes and freaking out of that whole thing, and then you get to see all the students coming together. Then you get to see the whole fight with Silver and Chosen, the sword fight. It was some of the most awesome scenes in the show. You get to see the whole student fights between all of them, and then you get to see Johnny is getting beat up and Silver going there smiling all bloody, and then he does to kill him, and Johnny's about to get literally killed, but then he looks at the picture of his baby and he gets up and beats them all up, all trained senseis. That just shows the heart of Johnny, and he beats them up. He cuts off their finger in a brutal way. It was so awesome. And then you get the scene where Silver goes up to Daniel and he's like, he's basically saying like, I still own you, you still can't beat me. And Daniel is focused. He's been in his head. He's focused. He's calm. He knocks him down. And then he does the crane kick. Oh my gosh. And he finally beats Silver. And Silver goes to jail. And it's such a good ending. And then it ends with Kreese. What an episode. I'm going to give this episode a 9.7 out of 10. It's amazing. It's not the greatest though. Number 1 belongs to the last episode in the show. X Degenerate, which deserves it. I know, a season 6 episode number 1, you guys might be shocked. I do not care. This episode captured the whole heart of Cobra Kai of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and ended it perfectly. And I mean perfectly. As bad as season 6 was, part 3 and this episode ended the story perfectly, because it shows Johnny's story, him back at the grave, him as a loser. Then it cuts to him now as a family man with his baby and his wife and his 2 sons, him getting trained by Daniel and being on focus and actually being scared, kind of like Rocky and Rocky 3, where he's kind of scared of Mr. T. And then you get the training montage of him and Daniel, which you just know you need a training montage with this. You get the whole fight where he's getting inside his head, and then you're gonna be a loser forever, and no matter that forever you'll be known as a loser. But he goes out there and he's down, but he comes back, he remembers who he is, and Johnny wins. You look at Karate Kid, when he lost, he wins this time, and he wins for Cobra Kai. He wins for the legacy of the entire show, of everything they've been through, and they all hug in a great moment. And then you end every character very well. You end off playing Guns of Roses, which is just perfect. And you get to see Johnny going back to the grave different. You get to see Sam going off to college with Miguel. You get to see Johnny back just like how he was in season 1, training the students. And he's just ending the final shot with a smile on his face, and it fades to that snake one last time. It was perfect. This episode is a 10 out of 10, and it's the greatest episode in Cobra Kai. Well, there you go. About 2-hour long video, guys. Longer than the Karate Legends movie. Was this video better than the movie? Let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys watching this. If you guys watched the whole thing, I doubt you guys did, but if you truly did, and you're watching me right now with my bad hair, I appreciate you guys. You know, a lot of effort in this video. It took me a long time to think about my ranking. I'm sure my ranking will change every now and then, but this is basically like every 10 episode range, like from 65 to 55, 55 to 45. All those episodes will be on that range. They might get adjusted, but I think my range is right where I have these episodes for good. But I think my favorite will always stay the same, though. My top 3 will probably always stay the same. Well, maybe my top 2, but that's my ranking. A lot of effort. If you guys, I usually don't ask because it's kind of lame, because if you guys like the video, you'll like, but if you guys could have liked the video, it'd mean a lot with all the, I did a lot of effort into this. I know everyone wanted to hear my ranking, so it would mean a lot. But, like I said, if you don't like it, I'm not going to come to your house and do like a tornado kick to you or anything. But I thought I should say that, YouTube Studio's been say that. I don't know. They think they know me. But anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys. If you truly did, I'll see you guys next time. Always remember, if extreme situations got extreme measures, I need to go to bed at 2 p.m. I'm tired. Peace out.